Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Today, I am going to dive on in and take a first look at a game which is going to be coming to Kickstarter for Pungo Games and Worthington Publishing. And I am talking about Lands of the Mesozoic, which is designed by Andrew Guinea with artwork provided by Sergei Krasovsky. Taking a stab on that. This game is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, and plays in around 2 hours. As I mentioned, this is coming to Kickstarter. It's supposed to launch late August, early September. So we are just going to be taking a first look because I have not dived into this yet. We're going to just take a peek at what's inside the box. So let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Lands of the Mesozoic. And I will mention this appears to be pretty much a finished product. So this looks as if this is probably what you would find in retail when this arrives. So, as I mentioned, the Kickstarter is going to be starting either later this month or early next month. And of course, stay tuned. I will have more news about that as far as pledge levels and so forth. And of course, I will also be sharing my thoughts about Lands of the Mesozoic as well. So I should point out the fine folks over at Worthington Publishing were kind enough to provide me with this copy of Lands of the Mesozoic. But neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. These days, it's very important that you know that. So let's take a look at the back here. And I got to say, this artwork looks really impressive. We're going to get a much closer look at the artwork as well. So we've got the Lands of the Mesozoic, puts you in the era between 252 and 66 million years ago. Subdivided into the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous periods, this is the time that dinosaurs first appeared and dominated the world before they went extinct. However, dinosaurs weren't the only animals of the Mesozoic. They shared their habitats with amphibians, reptiles, and mammals. Up to 4 players can create and oversee their own Mesozoic ecosystems using 3 main types of cards: land, herbivore, and carnivore, representing the different levels of the food chain. All 3 types of cards need to be in balance for the ecosystem to be sustainable in the long term. However, competition between species and the shifting nature of the earth will trigger extinction events of animals and habitats that, in turn, will open niches for new species to appear and spread. The player that manages their ecosystem the best will win. All right, so let's jump on in. I got to say, this box has some serious heft to it. So let's see what we've got here. So it looks like we start off with a quick start guide, just 1 page. We'll actually look at the rule book. We won't dive into the quick start there. We got some decks of cards. We'll look at these last. Some cubes in 4 different colors. So it looks like each player is going to choose a color for these cubes. Got a rule book. Oh, looks like we've got 2 rule books, which is something that I see Worthington Publishing do from time to time. So it's kind of like, oh, you get a rule book and I get a rule book, so we can both learn how to play before we get together. So that's cool. We'll look at this right now. So we got our introduction. Looks like we've got 12 pages. Hey, solo mode. Nice. So we've got solitaire play. I do believe that this is a relatively low complexity game, and it appears that this is kind of a tableau builder, which I am a fan of that genre of games. So, as far as our overview, in the Lands of the Mesozoic, players will create and manage their own Mesozoic ecosystems using 3 main types of cards that symbolize the different levels of the food chain. So, we already saw we've got land, herbivores and carnivores. So we've got 5 types of land: forest, prairie, dry land, water, and wetland. Then we also have 3 sizes of herbivores: small, medium, large, 2 sizes of carnivores: small and large. So it's showing our setup. It appears we've got a center board that everybody uses. Maybe that's to track our rounds. And there's our boards that I guess each of the players receive. So those are the player boards. That's the game board. Okay, cool. The game consists of 3 periods of 7, 6, and 5 rounds, respectively. At the beginning of each round, move the turn tracker token 1 space to the right. Flip the card at the top of the period deck. In turn order, every player applies its effect immediately. Example: draw 1 herbivore card. Then, starting with the active player, every player takes a turn. Once all players have completed their turns, the round is finished. In their turns, players can play cards from their hands and or activate cards already in play in any order. Additionally, once per turn, players can discard any 2 cards from their hands as a special action for a benefit of their choice. It says see special actions. It's like we get a breakdown of the anatomy of these cards, which when we take a closer look at the cards, we'll kind of come back to this. So we've got special actions. They may pay 2 cards to draw, it looks like 2 land, 1 herbivore, or 1 carnivore, or I'm not sure what that symbol might represent. Any, it says any 1 card in play. So we might actually have kind of a market area for cards. Or maybe that's saying activates an ability of any 1 card in play. So we're getting a layout of the ecosystem and balance. Major extinction events. At the end of the first and second periods, a major extinction event is triggered. If there are 1 or more cards in play with end of a period abilities, resolve them now. Then flip over the major extinction event card at the top of the period deck, and all players apply its effects. During the game, there's no limit to how many cards players may hold in their hands. However, during major extinction events, players may be forced to discard down to a specific number of cards, or they may have to discard a card from their hands. Nice. Yeah, I'm intrigued. We have goal cards. Each player will have an individual goal card that will generate points at the end of the game. Additionally, the board in the middle of the playing area also has a goal card that's shared by all players. Players will score points from both. Nice. And then we've got final scoring. And we have race goals. I guess the players are racing to complete some specific goals as well to score victory points. And then we've got our solo mode on the back here. Cool. Like I said, I'm intrigued. So this is our center board. This is our common board or game board, I guess we'll say. Looks like we're going to track our time periods or rounds here. There's our extinction events. I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit. Let's make sure that that's in focus. So we've got those race goals. So first person to acquire 5 land cards, 4 herbivores, 3 carnivores. Use the maybe that's the maybe that's the end of period ability. Could be of a herbivore card or gain X. Looks like those are like footprints with the carnivore. Here's our common goal card. Okay. And oh, that's kind of cool on the back of it. We have got that. So we also have a punch board. And it looks like these are numbered 1 through 3, dual sided. Yes, they are dual sided. And then we have active player tokens. And then we've got some colored tokens, which I wouldn't be shocked if these cubes are probably a replacement for those if you want. So we've got that. Then we've got our player boards. Pretty good size here. So carnivores, I'm guessing period 1, 2, and 3. Herbivores, period 1, period 2. And land, period 1. And then I'm going to take a guess that's probably your gold card that you're going to keep there. And get a little bit of artwork on the back of this too. So that's cool. So we've got 4 of these. We certainly do. There we go. We've got 4 of those. So now let's take a look at the various cards we've got. Looks like these are period cards. These are land cards. I would take a guess. There's probably a bit of a mix. They may not all be just one deck because it seems like we've got a few different decks with the land, herbivore, carnivore, goal cards, period cards. Let's take a peek. We'll get a closer look at the artwork and the breakdown, the anatomy of these cards. So these are all land. These are herbivore, more herbivore. Those are goals. More gold cards there. And then we've got carnivores. And then period 3, period 2, period 1, major extinction event, and land cards. So these will go with that. So let's see what we get with the period. So we've got period 1. All players draw 2 land cards. All players draw a herbivore, a carnivore. No effect. So that's period 1, period 2. All players discard a card. No effect. All players draw land, herbivore, carnivore. Period 3. This round, abilities of carnivore cards have a discount of 1 or resource of any type. Abilities of herbivore cards have no cost. No effect, no effect. All players draw a carnivore. So these are our period cards. I would take a guess we're probably not going to use all of the cards from each period. Let's take a look at the goals. 3 victory points. I'm assuming that's victory points per set of 2 cards with at least one of the, I think that was the sea or water, and that's wetland. We're not going to look at every single card, but 3 points per set of 2 cards with that symbol at the end of the game. 3 points per large herbivore at the end of the game. 1 victory point per land. So kind of interesting. So we've got just little titles as well. So goal, big spender, hydrologist, extinction master. So these are the various goal cards. Major extinction events. So major volcanic period. Every player discards down to 6 cards in hand, then exhaust all of the following land cards in play. Every player discards down to 6, exhaust all of those land cards. Climate change. Every player discards down to 5 cards. Every player discards one card in hand, exhaust all carnivore cards. So I'm not sure what exhausting would represent in this game. Usually it means that you have to refresh a card to be able to use its abilities and things like that. So here we got our lands. So bog, mountain prairie, lagoon. Oh, this is cool. I was thinking we were only going to have 5 different lands, but each of the types of lands are going to have a bit more detail. So conifer forest, hot desert, swamp, plateau, springs, shrubland, fern forest. There's another bog there. So those are land cards. Then we got our herbivores. So let's take a look real quick. I'm going to pull the rule book back out so we can kind of get an idea. You know what? While I do that, I think I'll zoom in all the rest of the way so we can get a nice close shot of these cards. So let's take a peek and go back to the anatomy of the cards. All right, so let's take a look at a land card. So this is the cost to play, 2. This is the ability. I wonder if that's exhausting. Maybe that's what that symbol is. To exhaust this card to draw a land, herbivore, carnivore. Could be. So victory points. So this would be worth nothing. And then the attribute, which this is wetland, I think that was. So as an example here, let's do tropical prairie costs 1 to play. Draw 1 card. So that must be to exhaust it. And I think the other symbol must be to discard it. That's just my guess. Remember, you just saw me open the box, so I don't know how the rules work. No victory points here, and then this is, I think it was grasslands. Was the let's take a look. It is prairie. There we go. So that is the anatomy of those cards. So the anatomy of herbivores should be about the same. So that is the cost to play it. So 3. And we also have, oh, I guess you must have these lands in play as well in order. So these are prerequisites to be able to play this. It would be worth 2 victory points. It is considered to be a medium herbivore, which we're seeing it. There's a symbol there. It also says medium right there. And then it has a secondary attribute, which is C. So the ability here is to exhaust it. Once again, I'm taking a guess in order to draw a herbivore. Take a look at another one. The Camptosaurus, also medium. You would need to have one of those wetland cards or water cards. It's worth 1 victory point. It's also a medium herbivore. Its secondary attribute is J. And pay 1 to draw a herbivore, or I should say carnivore card. So when it says pay a card, I think that's indicating that you need to discard that card. I'm guessing. Gotta say, I really like this artwork though. Check it out. We're not going to look at every single card here, but that is some fantastic looking artwork. And all of these I believe, are unique. I don't think any card is repeated as far as the animals. Sweet. So that is our herbivores. And finally, let's take a look at the carnivores. Arizonosaurus. Never heard of that. I'm not familiar. So, in order to play this, it costs you one, and you must have two small herbivores in play. It's worth a victory point. It's considered small carnivore. Secondary attribute is T. There must be a list of what each of those abilities are. Let's take a look at a few of these. All right, gotta be curious here. What's our biggest? There we go. Got that. I think that's our biggie. No, I take that back. We've got a few more fours. There we go. The Gigantosaurus. Yes, I know it's only a 3, but still. Ah, that's what I was looking for. The T-Rex. So you must have small, medium, and large herbivores as well as a large carnivore in play to be able to bring this out. It's worth 7 victory points, and its bonus attribute is a C. Nice. So that's a look at some of the carnivore cards. So we have got the punch board. We've got 2 rule books. Let's pull a little further back out here. Got the 2 rule books. Got the punch board. We have the player boards. The game board, as well as the cubes, and a variety of decks of cards, such as land, carnivore, herbivore, the different periods, goals, as well as the major extinction events. And that is what we find when we actually get everything in the top of the box. That's what we find when we take everything from lands of the Mesozoic outside the box. Once again, this is going to be coming to Kickstarter late August/early September from Worthington Publishing. It's designed by Andrew Guinea. Our work is provided by Sergei Krasovsky, and it is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, and plays in around 2 hours. Of course, stay tuned, and I will share my thoughts about Lands of the Mesozoic as far as gameplay goes. So stay tuned for that video. All right, that is it for this time out. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ring that bell, because it'll not only let you know when I upload videos such as this first look, it'll also inform you when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks for taking time out to watch the video. And until I see you next time, here's hoping each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.